I have a particular interest in this story here. There's a big issue that every new parent faces, getting your baby to sleep.
But there's a new way of looking at things. It says you shouldn't try to force your child to go to sleep.
Yeah, and here to talk to us through some of these issues is child sleep consultant Natalie Barnett. She has a doctorate in genetics and postgraduate certificates in pediatric sleep science. So good morning to you. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Hazel.
So I have an almost 3-month-old, and, it's a struggle. So what is your view? Should we actually be what they call putting the children down for the night, right?
So look, Dan, I am just so excited to be talking about sleep because I know that sleep is as important to a baby's growth and development as nutrition and exercise.
Yeah.
And so if we're talking about sleep, it means that families are focusing on sleep, and I want them to really understand that sleep health is such an important pillar of their child's development. That said, I know that there's a lot of controversy around how to get your baby to sleep, what are the best methods to get your babies to sleep. And truly, I really think that every family is different, every baby is different, and you kind of got to do what's right for your family. There is no one size fits all.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scientific research showing that babies who are independent sleepers, that is, babies who can fall asleep by themselves at the beginning of the night and then get themselves back to sleep when they wake up during the night, sleep better, sleep longer than babies who require a lot of parental assistance to sleep. But I want families to know that in those precious first few months, most babies just can't self-soothe. And you need to be the ones soothing them. So you need to be rocking, you need to be holding, you need to be patting, you need to be doing all the things. So do whatever you can to keep that baby calm and keep that baby happy and try and get your baby the sleep that they need.
Well,
after the baby, sorry, Hazel.
No, I was just going to say, considering how much babies nap during the day, how much sleep do they actually need? And is it true that they don't naturally fall asleep at night?
So it's a really good question. It's a really good question. So babies are born without a circadian rhythm, so they don't know the difference between daytime and nighttime. They haven't started producing melatonin just yet. But as they start to get a little bit older, once they're around 6 or 8 weeks, we start to see the production of melatonin, and we start to see the differentiation between daytime and nighttime. And so that's a great time to start thinking about differentiating those daytime feeds and nighttime feeds. So those daytime feeds can be in the living room with the lights on, and those nighttime feeds can be a little bit darker and quieter, so that they start to know the difference between daytime and nighttime.
Here's the million-dollar question, right? And this is what I was reading an article about the other day, is about what exactly to do with a crying baby at night, right? Depending on the age. Do you let them cry it out, which is very tough for parents to do, right? Or do you eventually go in there and pick them up and then start that whole cycle of trying to get them back to sleep?
Look, Dan, it's an excellent question. And honestly, at the heart of it is what feels right to you as a parent. I know that it is okay for a baby to cry when they're frustrated because they're trying to learn something new, or they're trying to, work out how to get themselves to sleep. And it's okay for a baby to be, to be a little bit frustrated. That said, in those first few months, I want you to do everything you can to keep that baby calm and keep that baby happy. But after that baby is around 4 months, I know that baby is capable of self-soothing, and I would love to encourage parents to give their babies the opportunity to self-soothe. So the more they can learn to self-soothe, the easier it is for them to become independent sleepers, fall asleep by themselves, and get themselves back to sleep when they wake up during the night. The other thing that I would say too is that consistency is very important. So all of these methods work, but choose a method that feels right for your family and stick to it, and because it doesn't happen overnight. It might take a little bit of time to get there, but stick with it. Your baby will learn how to get themselves to sleep and then back to sleep.
And like you said, it's not a one-size-fits-all. Natalie Barnett, child sleep consultant, thank you so much for being here this morning. We're going to go get some sleep.
We're going to have you back because we're just too tight on time to talk to you. We have a lot more to talk to. We'll have you back. Thank you, Natalie. We'll be right back.